Continue to the previous
Remove
issue.
the tank from the turret.
First entered the stage of war in the form of an assault gun,
and then due to the incentive of the need for armored countermeasures,
the assault guns became tank destroyers.
Then this video, let's take a look at the battle history of tank destroyers. Tank swordsman, also known as destroyer. It was first a kind of waste recycling for the German army
the early
in World
Blitzkrieg
War II going on. The Germans conquered a large amount of concrete in a short
captured
time.
a huge amount of weapons and
Among
equipment.
them are tanks. There are also various anti-retroactive
progress
guns
of the
war. The captured equipment quickly fall behind the frontline needs. How to recycle waste at this time. Let these things play out for fun. It's a pretty cool thing. A simple solution is to splice cart-carrying cannon. However, some serviceable chariots were mistaken. For example, the Germans own no. It was originally only equipped with a machine gun 47mm anti-tank
This is
tank destroyer number 1. The total weight of the thing itself is only 6
Can't wear
tons.
very
thick armor. It can't even be fully enclosed. Combat Division. Just add a semi-enclosed shield to the front. It's still cool when held up. Whoops, not bad. Can be promoted if more of these chariots were created. Among them, the Weasel series. It can be regarded as the ultimate hybrid. Weasel line. It uses the chassis of a French to lowly tractor. Put on Germany's own Parksling's letter. 75mm anti-counter
Weasel type
to internal part. 2 models. It used Germany's own no to tank chassis, of which the Weasel type to 131. I used my own Parkley. The Weasel 2132 is used occasionally
Type
to
76.2mm
Weasel
goo.
3 inside part. 3 signals. They all use a 38T tank chassis made by
Among
Jack.
them,
the Weasel 3139
HF type
76.2mm
Weasel
throw.
type
3138 H&M. Then install Germany's own Parksier 75mm. It's just that the 138H fights in the middle, and the 138M fights at the back. Although these hybrid monsters are waste, but Deu is cheap and the output is not low. There are 170 Weasels at risk. There are 863 Weasel 2. The number of Weasel 3 risks reached 1,736. This is true in various types of tanks. From a single type of military product
No
to the Third
doubt
Reich.
the
Great irony. Probably also aware of this patchwork convertible. More cost-effective, more extreme Germans. The Western Stream tank locomotive was developed. More men, the trump card of the no. It is equipped with a Tiger King
Long
tank.
Baba
Cano. And 494 were also produced, more than Tiger King. This one later, and Big Macs with a 1.5-meter goo, and Emo with 1 to 8 guns, but only in the prototype stage. To put it bluntly, the design of this type of combat
The
vehicle
shortcomings are too
sacrifices
obvious.
defense. Continue backwards from the ravine line. For pictures, the first locomotive of the 4th tank has the same frontal profile. Spray another powerful storm tank. Long-term artillery of 70 calibers on the body. Is it all ready? And the ideal is plump. Reality is skinny. The blast tank was too much of a body in the late
Heavy
World
main
War
tank.
II. How can you give you the indirect vehicle of the no for tank? Do it like this. Fully equipped for those previous open-top electric locomotives. The original intention of waste utilization,
For example,
the for tank. Graham indirect in the end, you can only use the midterm 5 throws of the positioning is very awkward. Yale is a typical. There are examples of recycling operations. This is who I am. Dr. Porsche. The story of the Fittingland tank destroyer. Dr. Porsche's Tiger Fart. It was originally a tank that bid with the bombing Tiger. Tiger Fart adopts electric drive
Very
chassis,
trendy.
but it wasn't ready. The final bid failed, but 90 Tiger Fart chassis have been built. Isn't it a waste if you don't need it? Like a Tiger coming to a big refit. Equipped with a long Baba cannon that is stronger than the Tiger and fitted with 200mm frontal armor. Incarnate as the panel attribute, the most powerful armored fighting vehicle. The price to pay is no turret. And the weight of the vehicle reached 65 tons. And the early versions didn't even have machine guns. Pure tank assault vehicle. But it's still a close encounter. The opening encounter was the Kursk tank battle. Fittingland's chariot was able to land on the Great in an epic armored confrontation. But in the end, I had to. It's used for offensive operations that they're not very good at. After being attacked by various heroic signs. The losses
remaining
were heavy.
tanks
have been modified with front machine guns added. It was renamed the Image Chariot, and this machine grew. Although the integrity of the front armor was destroyed, but there's really no way. Otherwise, there is really no way to take enemy infantry. The Yunnan Kurhol said, like the experience and lessons of tank electric
Germany
locomotives
still had its main tank in the later
on the
stage.
chassis of violence. They developed the Cheetah tank electric locomotive
Cheetah to some extent.
Arguably the best tank fencing of World War II. Possesses the ability to excite. At the same time, it inherited the 80mm inclined armor. It extends all the way to the combat division above. The overall shape is simple and elegant. The defense capabilities are also outstanding. The disadvantage is that they were born late and are rarely seen. Only for 1-3, not as many as Tiger King. That goes one step further. On the Tiger King chassis, developed Tiger Tank Destroyer. There are stronger panels and equipped with an exaggerated 128 and the front armor is up to 250 millimeters. The overall weight came to 71.7 However, tons. In actual use, but it was not well received by the officers and soldiers. Saint Ace Kalu Temple. I dislike the Tiger Hunt for being doesn't work at all. Indeed, because the tanks with no rotatable turret advancing main goo, it can only be rotated by a small angle left and right. Question. It's not really outstanding. But if the chariot itself is bulky, and that's a really bad question. The exploration practice of Nadudvar and the detours we've taken Soviet side, it was easy to come up with Su-85 and Su-100. Tank construction vehicle RV, the birth of T-3 for 85. The Su-85 soon lost its value. And Su-100, basically, it can be regarded as the Soviet version of the Cheetah. Same trump card for the main medium tank. Carry a bigger goo. The same hull tilt armor extends to the combat divisio. Simple shape, maneuvering defense balance. But the production quantity of Sui reached 2,335 from units. The time of birth. It's not necessarily anyone who copies It can Sui. Only be said that in this armored confrontation have explored the optimal solution of the tank destroyer. However, the United States on the other side of the ocean. This practice, the development ideas are a little different. They smoke the tank's top. Lightweight and carry bigger guns. It's called tank annihilation. The car retains the rotatable turret and possibly greater mobility, roughly the desired effect. And I'm going around the side at a happier pace. However, it has really created a product. Only the M28 Hellcat is and practiced. This high maneuverability. He is on the chassis of the M20 for Chaffee light tank. Developed from, equipped with a longer and shorter 76mm powerful The total weight is only 17.7 Production tons. Quantity 2,507 In the units. Battle of German armor. Made a lot of achievements in comparison to other types of American tank ships and locomotives. Volfwan and M36 Jackson. Not fast enough. The M36 Jackson is armed with a 90mm Following the main throw of the MM26 but this tank. Is rare. On thin ski, so that when German tanks were confronted head-on, resolutely suffer. Finally, Americans finally saw through the reality. A ruthless shot made T-28. T-95 is an Iron King. The British also came up with soil rules. Basically a World War II Soviet German tank indirect equator-enhanced edition. But after the war, due to more time to polish weapons, soldier waste, cramming is no longer necessary. On the contrary, the fewer models, the more conducive it is to military production and logistics by this principle. Soviet Union came up with the Panacea T5 for 5.5 series main gun upgraded to 100mm. For example, the later Su-100 lost the opportunity only weapons to use like a Su and a Su-85. Special lightweight anti-tank in airborne troops. Demand was only met in the 1950s. Another light tank destroyer. However, with the rebound of a barrel, even the appearance of a missile in the military airborne troops equipment tank monitoring, it's not necessary. Back to Germany. In the second generation of tacit tiger hunting these tall things for cheetahs, still on the chassis of a 38T small tank made by we have the Skitter tank destroyer. This thing is purely a luxury item. Too much stress. Taste returns to the convertible era. Pinjuo Duo is the original intention of building cars. Of 2,827 it shows that the Germans will still engage in mass production after the war. But it was also the Germans who reloaded in World War II to rebound lessons of failure. And this GPS bar battle tank competition book, The Germans versus the Skitters, a small continuation of the low-price strategy in the 1960s. Can you still introduce such incompatibility? A timely turret-less tank. Cowardice is also a big reason. After all, the Soviet
Always
Union
ready
for a
for
flood of steel to flatten Europe. With a weakened army, Europe can only defend itself. This is also Sweden's. One of the main reasons for the Type tank. It's just an attitude. I just want a dog. The Type S tank uses hydraulic suspensio, make it possible to adjust the body pitch angle significantly, make it a lot streamlined from 2. In the case of an upper combat structure, it also includes a more flexible shooting angle, and it's easier to deal with obstacles. For example, shooting black guns behind the soil slope. With the end of the Cold War, Sweden has also changed its official borough. It has to be said that the last generation of tank fencing considered that our country is he installed a 50 to X mirror 120 and it has a rotatable turret, Deja vu shape, known as the Fedolin of the East. The same too is the Cold War. The product of the Red Bull in response to Soviet armor. A total of 230 vehicles all retired in 2015. Okay, that's it for this video. I'm 262. Let's see you next time.